Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Cancer Support Community Central Ohio's Cooking for Wellness with COUG. We are very thankful that we have a partnership with Central Ohio Urology Group that allows us to offer these Cooking for Wellness classes. Today with us is our dietitian, Emily Sullivan. Chef Jason Johnson will be in the Giant Eagle Community Kitchen here at Cancer Support Community Central Ohio, momentarily getting things set up. And my name is Darlene. I am the program manager at Cancer Support Community Central Ohio. So Emily, tonight we're going to be doing mason jar salads and snacks. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the nutritional values of the things that Chef will be making?
Yes, definitely. So when looking over these, they're just so simple and they can be so healthy, and you can make them in a bunch of different ways and kind of make them your own. Like, for example, the yogurt parfait. Sometimes I'll get questions like outside of here about the differences between Greek yogurt, regular yogurt, if there's health differences, if one's better than the other. But what I can say is that it's really individualized. Greek yogurt has a higher protein content, which can then in return keep you fuller longer and provide you with some good energy. When making the Greek yogurt, so as far as like the structural differences, when making the Greek yogurt, there's just an extra step there. They're going to strain it so there's no liquid and it's thicker. And then with the regular yogurt, it's made with milk and bacteria and heated, and then there's bacteria added to it to thicken it. Regular yogurt likely has more sugar content, and it's going to taste a little bit more sour. So I prefer Greek yogurt due to that extra protein in there, but both are nutritious and they have their own values. One thing I do like to recommend when doing any sort of yogurt is I do want to push toward the plain or vanilla flavored, which does say that on this recipe, but only because of the sugar content. A lot of times it can be kind of packed with sugar if you don't add your own fruit to it. If you buy yogurt with fruit already in there, it can really raise the sugar content. So if you buy the plain and then you add your own fruit to it for that flavor of whatever you're going for, then that's going to be a lower sugar and it's going to be a healthier option. And then with this yogurt parfait, you can really just make it your own. And I'm sure that Chef Jason will have a lot of great ideas for switching things out. But what I love about this recipe is it says to put in high fiber cereal and granola, and both in those the chia seed, flax seed, and hemp seeds, those are high in fiber. And what fiber can do for your body is, one, it helps you feel fuller. And that's the goal, is that we're getting a lot out of the food that we're eating. It's not a lot of empty calories and things that aren't providing us with benefit. If we fill our bellies with fiber, that fiber is going to help draw cholesterol and sugars out of the intestine. So it really serves its purpose. And with the protein content in those as well, it's really going to help you stay fuller longer. And so you can really flip out whatever kind of cereal you would want in there, whatever kind of granola you would want in there, different types of seeds, and really just make it your own. And I think that that's the benefit in doing a yogurt parfait, is that you don't have to do the same one twice, and you can have different benefits. It just kind of gives an outline here with this recipe, and then you can kind of mix and match on your own. So that's my opinion with that. So moving on to the hummus. I am a big fan of hummus. I think I eat hummus almost every day. Different ways to eat hummus: use it with veggies. I dip like carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, cucumbers in mine. I eat it with pretzels. I eat it on bread. You can use it to make salad dressing. And the benefits of using a hummus is going to be that there's some protein in there. There's some good fiber, which I just kind of talked about, the benefits of fiber. This is a no animal product dish, so it doesn't have any cholesterol then. So if there's no cholesterol is in animal products, and so that's beneficial. It helps stabilizes your blood sugar because it's a low glycemic index food, meaning it just kind of in plain terms, it doesn't cause an increase in dip in your blood sugars. It's kind of just going to be a consistent low glycemic index food option. So that has a ton of benefits there. There are some special fats in there that slow the releases of the sugar sugar and keeps you within that healthy range. So yeah, so hummus, so if you're making this and to store it in a mason jar, it's just going to be easily stored and kept good and sealed up for a long time, and storing it in the jar doesn't take up a ton of space in the fridge. So there's just a ton of benefits that way as well. Any questions about that?
Emily, I apologize. I had to step away for a second. I see that the recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of hemp seeds. Would people be able to substitute out, like, I don't know, chia or anything else like that? Sesame, I don't know.
Yeah, my opinion is yes. Let's ask Chef Jason about the substitutes specifically. But I see this as also making it your own. You go in the store and you see a bunch of different types of hummuses, and I do feel like it's for taste and whatever. As far as nutritional value, absolutely. Great question. Yeah, so let's see here. I'll just kind of talk about the salad here. So one thing I want to mention, if you're going to do this mason jar salad, when you're building it in the jar, I do recommend putting the salad dressing on the bottom and then putting your, then putting your grain and protein and then the leafy greens on top. If you do it the other way, then the salad dressing will make everything really mushy and soggy. So you have a more likely chance of it being able to stay fresh for several days. There's going to be a change in texture after about 2 days in the fridge, but you can make them about 2 days ahead of time and just be able to grab and go. And again, the storage of it, with it being in that mason jar, it doesn't take up a ton of room, and you can kind of put a lot in there and get a lot out of it. So as far as the ingredients go, it calls for the farro. I know I messed up that word. That happens to me a lot. And that's a grain. That's a wheat-based, plant-based protein. It's comparable to other beans and legumes. So again, we're just like packing full of fiber today with this grain, and it's going to help you keep full with this salad. Sometimes people struggle with eating a salad and still feeling hungry after, or feeling hungry maybe in a couple hours and not feeling satisfied. Well, if you increase the protein and you increase that fiber, so adding a grain and adding extra protein to your salad, then that's going to do its job and keep you full and satisfied for longer, so that you'll be more likely to want to go to a salad for lunch because you'll be getting the most out of it. So yeah, so then just other things, and I'm sure that there's a lot of other things that you can just throw in there. That's the good thing about like salads, is you can just throw in any extra ingredients that you do have in there. As long as, if you're going to store it for a couple days, kind of thinking about that method of putting that dressing on the bottom, and then when it's time to eat it, you could shake it up or just kind of mix it onto your plate or eat it out of the jar after that.
So Emily,
if
somebody was gluten-free and using a grain like the farro, however it is pronounced, could they do like maybe beans instead? A type of a heartier bean that would give them the protein, but not necessarily the gluten?
Yeah, so I mean, it's really again up to your choice, but yeah, it would be a gluten-free option would be like that different grain to get the same benefit, because the farro is going to be that plant-based protein, and it's that wheat, so it provides you with the fiber and the protein. And so putting a substitute in that would also provide you with the fiber and the protein, that'd be the best way to substitute, and it would be another bean or legume.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. Does everybody know where the recipes can be found on our website? Let me hijack the meeting here for just a second and do a screen share so everybody can find those recipes back. And I don't know why it's doing that. Let me try this button here. Here we go. So all of our recipes are on our website, and it is yes. So here we go. So our landing page here is what you will see when you come to our website. And then the second tab over under programs and services, as you scroll down, about halfway down the drop-down box is our Cooking for Wellness recipes. And we have these archived all the way back to 2017. So we have quite a wealth of nutritional options recipe options for everybody with nutritional values included. So tonight, as Emily was sharing the yogurt parfait, here's the ingredients, and she was talking about that Greek yogurt, and then you can see the nutritional information that was added by our dietitians, and then we have some additional information at the bottom. So these are available for you to just look at or to download and keep in your recipe box, folder, whatever, however your computer. I'm so old school, I'm still talking paper and pen, but I'm sure that there's digital versions of keeping your recipes stored that are your favorites. So has anybody had already made a salad in a jar?
Oh, yes.
What are some of the favorite things, if you don't mind me asking, Carol, what are some of the favorite ingredients that you put in your salads?
Quinoa on the bottom. First, I put like a salad dressing, and then quinoa and beans and golly, nuts.
Oh,
And then, spinach on top.
yeah, I like the addition of adding nuts. Yeah. I know, Emily, that different nuts have different nutritional values, but your tree nuts tend to have good fiber and some wonderful minerals and other kind of healthy things. So thank you, Carol, for sharing that. That's I love the idea of doing the quinoa and the and adding nuts. I tend to do more beans myself, but I have to tell you, the first time I had quinoa was something that Chef Jason made. So it helps me branch out to be more adventurous in my ingredients.
The adding of the nuts, that's a great way to add a healthy fat. And why we need healthy fats into our daily diet is for hormone regulation. And so just keeping that in mind, I mean, just for normal, healthy hormone regulation, and just kind of making sure everything is working properly, is making sure that we have those healthy fats that can be found in avocados, nuts, a lot of different ways like that. So I just wanted to point that out, that it's a great option.
I have to say I have had parfaits before, but I've never stored them in a mason jar. And I know that there's a variety of different size of jars out there. So getting the smaller one will help me with portion control, I'm sure, with the wonderful things that you can add in a parfait version, but I'm sure that how long do you think that if you've already mentioned this, Emily, I apologize, but when you have the yogurt and the granola, how long do you think that you could store a parfait before the granola and the high fiber cereal kind of lose their crunch?
Yeah, there would be about texture change in about 2 days. Yogurt separately, would last more days, but adding in that the granola is going to like soften. So about 2 days. So maybe if you wanted to add that just at the time of eating, that could be a way if you're planning on storing multiple at a time.
That's a great idea. So does anybody else have any favorite salad ingredients that they would think they'd want to incorporate in their mason jar salad?
I love to add fruit. Honestly, for Mother's Day this weekend, I think I'm going to be making like a salad with like strawberries and walnuts and stuff like that. So adding fruit to a salad, or even dried fruit, that's a great way to spice up your salad. I love that, and make it visually appealing as well.
Yeah, I haven't really ventured out much beyond mandarin oranges or strawberries in a salad. I have to get a little bit more adventurous with my choices. Hi, Chef.
Good afternoon.
So Emily has done a fabulous job on educating us on all the wonderful nutritional value that these particular recipes will bring us, and we talked about some hints. But a question that I brought up that that you might have a good insight in is in the here it is. In the hummus, it calls for hemp seeds. If I can't find hemp seeds, or if that's something that I know that I won't use and I choose not to purchase it, so I don't have any food waste, would I be able to substitute that out with like chia seeds or any, sesame seeds or any other kind of seed like that?
Yes, actually, you can definitely use an alternative of chia or flax seeds or anything like that. Really, the addition of those are just to add, some more protein to it. So you can definitely use any of those other seeds.
Excellent, thank you. So I did see a question in the chat. Let me pull this up here. Do I know the website to check the nutrition's calorie per content? Copy paste a recipe to this link and automatically show the values, nutritional value, calories, etc. Are you familiar with anything like that, Emily? That's a website that will show the nutrients and calories of a particular food item.
Typically, when I do look up recipes, it offers the nutritional value. So I would just, if you have a recipe that you're looking at and it's not showing that, I would just do a Google search to find the similar recipe and kind of eyeball it that way, or you could individualize. But I mean, most, like all recipes, that website, they provide the nutrition content for the recipe that you're looking at. So a lot of times it's already on there. As far as a website to go to, have you ever heard of like Calorie King? That might be an option to figure out, to kind of get an idea of your dish, of how many calories per serving. That would be a good option. It's called Calorie King.
Yeah, I remember, I'm going to date myself here, but I remember when Calorie King was only in paperback form. So I'm very excited to know that it moved over to digital form, but it really is a wonderful format. Thank you for reminding me that that existed.
Definitely. We use that at Children's Hospital. So we use that every day.
So if anybody else has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat. Chef is, looks like he's coming down to the final steps of being able to start to do his demonstration. And I did figure out that picture in picture, so we see Chef a little bit better than the last time. So our technology it's still a learning curve. So of the three recipes, Chef, the salad, the hummus, or the yogurt parfaits, which one will you be starting with?
The yogurt parfait.
Perfect. And Emily, again, I apologize. I had to step away from the computer for a second when you were talking about yogurt. I left when you were talking about Greek yogurt and then the other options. But did you expand any on low fat, no fat, or anything like that? Is there any difference that we need to be aware of with those types of options?
So as far as the fat content in yogurt, that's just going to be based off preference. The nutrient content, as far as protein, vitamin D, like vitamins and minerals, it's not going to change based on the fat content. So if you do a whole fat, 2%, 1%, or fat-free yogurt, you're still getting the same nutrients. It's just the gram fat that's different. So the taste is going to be different. That's going to be the same if you're buying milk. If you're buying whole milk or skim milk, the vitamin D and calcium and protein are the same. It's just that fat content that goes up for taste wise.
Well, that's excellent to know. Thank you.
Yes.
So what are some people's favorite berries to put in yogurt? I'm looking at the recipe here and it just says 4 cups berries, fresh or frozen. Does anybody have favorites that they like to go to when they're making yogurt parfaits?
I'm such a creature of habit and I eat yogurt almost every day. Like I eat hummus every day. Like I have my favorite foods that I typically will like continuously eat because I love them so much. And I do eat Greek yogurt most days and I put a full banana and I do strawberries in it. I'm a big strawberry. If I'm doing like a smoothie, if I'm doing Yeah, I guess just any yogurt. I always go for the strawberry. That's my favorite flavor.
I wish I even ate yogurt. Fun fact, it's one of those childhood things that I just cannot seem to enjoy even as an adult.
Well, I have to say, I'm like you, Emily. If I'm choosing to have a yogurt, I tend to go to Greek just because of the extra protein in there. That helps really carry me through from breakfast to lunch. We do have a question in the chat. The question is, Greek and Indian yogurt, which is healthier? I'm sorry, which is better and healthier? So Greek and Indian yogurt, which is better and healthier?
So the Greek yogurt is going to have more protein. I think nutrient wise, it might be similar, but it's, I know that Greek is going to have more protein, maybe like double. Do you know anything else besides what I do? I'm not too familiar with Indian yogurt, but if Chef Jason has anything to add to that.
I'm not familiar with that. I've never heard of Indian yogurt.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. All I can say is it's as far as better or healthier, I'm not going to speak to that. I'm going to just say the difference would be the higher protein content.
So this website that I just pulled up is healthshots.com. So not to do a plug for them, I just am saying that. So hopefully they're a reputable website, but it says Dahi, D-A-H-I, and Greek yogurt. What's the difference between the two? The Dahi or curd is made with, oh heavens, lactobacillus. It says, don't laugh at me, Jason. It's like, although the same process of fermentation is followed when it comes to Greek yogurt, another bacteria is added in it called Streptococcus. Okay, I'm not even mentioning the third word there. So the Greek yogurt has things in addition to the lactobacillus. I'm a social worker, not a medical person. Don't make me say these words.
Yeah, there's going to be a different type of bacteria maybe added, and that's kind of just like a regular yogurt. It's heated, bacteria is added to thicken it. It's just the difference is the Greek yogurt is strained, and then it's thicker, which you get more out of it, more protein.
But that was an excellent question, Irene. Thank you for asking it, because I'm like Jason, I've never even heard of it. So it's always great to learn new things.
All right. Give me 2 minutes.
2 minutes. All right. Does anybody else have any questions or comments in those 2 minutes that we're waiting on Chef to get going with our parfaits? I know Emily shared her favorite fruit. Does anybody else have any favorite fruit they'd like to share?
I just want to make a comment about yogurts.
Yes.
The reason I asked about the Greek and Indian is I have used both, and I have seen the ingredients both, but excuse me. But because of probiotics, the Indian yogurt has more probiotics than the Greek yogurt, and also they have more protein. It's 10 milligrams. Oh, the other one is only 6 milligrams of protein. So if you're talking about protein content, I think I prefer the Indian yogurt.
Definitely going to have a lot of great benefits. So I say go for it. Enjoy that Indian yogurt.
Yeah, and Emily, this you may correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't some brands different from others where you're comparing, even just comparing Greek yogurt, because that's what I'm familiar with. If I have 3 brands in the grocery store, the nutritional ingredients, the protein amount will be different per brand.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely different brand depending on how it's made and how it's strained. And there's a lot of differences there. So definitely focus on reading those nutrition labels and getting the best option. And I do want to encourage again to look at the sugar content when you are buying yogurt, because a lot of times it's jam-packed with a lot of sugar. So again, I recommend buying a more plain base yogurt and adding your own fruit to it so that we can avoid getting a lot of sugar in there. Sometimes it's like 20 grams of sugar in there, and that's a lot. So, you know, if you can find one less than 8, that'd be ideal, I think.
And I appreciate you bringing up the Indian yogurt, Irene. I'm going to be doing some research and seeing if I can pick some up.
All right.
So it doesn't sound like we have any fruit eaters on the call tonight, Emily. I have to say I like strawberries, but I love putting blueberries in my, not only in my parfait, but just on top of my oatmeal in the morning. There's just something about fresh blueberries. Frozen is you know, wonderful as well, but there's just, you know, fresh berries, just can't beat them.
I agree. I definitely agree.
I wish I ate oatmeal too.
I eat oatmeal every day again. I have my certain things that I eat. I love oatmeal as well.
Jeff, we'll have to have you sit down with one of our dietitians. Emily will take you to task.
We're going to try all these foods again as an adult.
See, I probably do. Probably just sit down and say, okay, here is this, my whole list, because unfortunately it's a list of
We call
things
that exposure therapy. That's what we do at Children's. We do exposure therapy.
See, I didn't even know that was a thing. Evidently, I need it.
So what berries are you using in the yogurt parfait tonight?
So actually I have what I call triple berries. So we have blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries.
Wonderful. We do have a comment in the chat that says Irene shared that her go-to breakfast is a boiled egg, avocado, yogurt, flax powder, mashed then spread over all grain toast. That sounds yummy and healthy.
It does. But of course, it's Irene, so we expect nothing less.
No pressure, Irene, no pressure.
Okay.
All right. Irene, I feel like we haven't seen you the last couple of classes.
I've been missing. I forget, or I have conflict in my schedule.
Ah,
It's funny because why am I so busy? Why am I so busy with all this, you know, pandemic and all that stuff?
I've been looking for you. I've been looking
I'm
for
busy
you.
because I'm downsizing, and you know, it's hard to like go to one room and start, you know, and then you go to another room and then you haven't finished the other room and you have to go back and forth, and I'm going crazy in my house.
Well, good luck with that project.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to that myself here soon. All right, we're ready to rock and roll.
All right.
Screws or something, but anyway, yeah, she's had a lot of trouble. So
So Chef, you said you're going to start with the yogurt parfait?
Yes. All right, let's go. All right, good afternoon. I was going to say good evening, but we're not quite there yet. Good afternoon, everybody. I think this is really fun because, you know, with people on the go, or just need something that you can kind of pre-make and just grab it and either go or have it, you know, first thing in the morning or whatever it is. I think these are definitely great opportunities to do that, especially kids or grandkids. It's a pretty cool way to, like I said, you know, most people do a lot of meal prep these days. And so this is just another way to do some really cool meal prepping and doesn't take up a lot of space in your refrigerator. So that's a good thing about it. And, you know, mason jars anymore are fairly inexpensive that you can find. Either you can get them by the case, you can order them on Amazon or find them at your local store. So really inexpensive and then really cool way to figure out how to meal prep in a different way. We're going to start with this yogurt parfait, which who doesn't like a nice parfait? So I have these nice little fancy mason jars. You guys can see. It even has like a little bronze lid. You don't have to be as fancy, but it's an easy way to be able to do so. And I just have a nice Greek yogurt, vanilla Greek yogurt, at least to add some flavor. And I know I heard Emily say this before. If you want to have a flavor or something like that, it's best to probably add in your own so that you don't have to have any extra added in sugars or anything of that nature. So we say this about a lot of things. It's best to kind of get it down to the bare bones, and then whatever you want that you need in there, you can add it in, because then you control it instead of, you know, yes, it's probably easier to get the strawberry one or the blueberry one or the lemon one. But when you can control that, you know, you should go ahead and do that. We at least got the vanilla. And so just adding a little bit of this here in the bottom. And I think I also heard it mentioned, somebody mentioned before, it might have been Darlene, about the granola. Now, if I would say this would last, if you put it all together, it would probably last maybe 2 days before, if it's nice and sealed, before the granola itself starts to kind of become soggy. Because as the fruit breaks down, then that granola in there is also going to begin to break down and it's going to become soggy. And the good thing about the granola is it adds that crunch factor. A lot of times you don't understand, even in digestion, chewing helps to aid in digestion. So when you can have a dish that has different textures, that also helps to, it actually helps to burn calories. Like when you're chewing, when you're going through that chewing process, it helps to burn calories. So the yogurt is one texture, and then you have the berries or so, but adding that crunch factor to this is going to also help aid in burning calories by having something crunchy to that. So we have our yogurt right here in the bottom. And I always say, you know, you get interesting. So whatever berries that are prevalent, you know, right now, this was a nice try. So it's blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries. If you want to chop up a couple of strawberries in there, if you want to put some pomegranate seeds with this, even a little kiwi. I think earlier today, I actually just did yogurt parfaits for my client, and I did some strawberries, kiwi, and dragon fruit, and mixed those together. And I put a little dab of honey when I mix that fruit together, just to add some natural sweetness to them. And then that will be used as the parfait. But we're going to use just some berries here. You know, use whatever fruit you have that you want to use up. I heard Emily, you say strawberries and bananas is your go-to.
Yes, that's my favorite combination. Yes.
So I think right now, like this is peach stone fruit season. So even if you did say some strawberries and peaches, dice up some fresh peaches and strawberries, you know, get creative with the fruits, especially the ones that are in season, on how different ways that you can use them. So like I said, some strawberries and peaches, or maybe you dice some peaches and plums and stone fruits, cherries. Those are all stone fruits. So maybe that can be a nice mixture too.
cherries are in season right now. If you guys like cherries, grapefruit, I think are, you mentioned kiwis, those are all in season, which is a great time to buy. They're not going to be as pricey. So that's a great point there to buy what's in season. Strawberries, I think, might be in season right now too.
Yeah, they're getting there.
Yeah, they're getting there. Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I think that's probably the best way to go because you're getting great flavor, you're getting great nutritional value if you get what's in season. So we're just going to layer these on there. And the thing is, as this sits in the refrigerator, the natural juices from the fruit are going to now kind of leak down into your yogurt. So then there's your flavoring.
Jason, Irene shared in the chat that she's tried slices of papaya, pineapple, and dragon fruit.
Ooh, now that's a pretty cool. I never thought of pineapple in yogurt, but that definitely could definitely be great. Almost like a tropical. I would add some mint in there too, like a little chiffonades of mint.
Has anybody ever done pineapple in your cottage cheese? I don't know if that's a thing or if that's just my family that does that, but I
grew up eating cottage cheese and pineapples.
Love it.
Me too.
That's a great protein source as well. So I definitely am supportive of that. I love it.
Funny thing is that when I was working for the restaurant, we fed daycare kids attached to where our restaurant was. I did that for the snack for the kids for the daycare. And you should have saw the faces on these kids. I'm thinking, I enjoyed this as a kid, but when we served it to those kids for their snack, they turned their faces up so quickly as if, what is this? And they didn't eat it. They didn't like it. But they weren't familiar. They weren't familiar with cottage cheese to that level, and then definitely not cottage cheese and pineapples together.
Definitely. If that was their first time seeing it, you have to expose kids to things multiple times before they would be acceptant of it. And so that's funny that you got the first try with that. Yes,
it was quite interesting. Now I'm going to add, and you can just add granola to this. We have like a cereal, nice high fiber cereal. I'll show you guys. I found this cereal here at Giant Eagle. You guys can see it, or if you can see it here.
Yeah, unfortunately, the camera's a little backwards, but what I'm reading backwards, it looks like it says Fiber Plus.
It's Flax Plus Maple Pecan Crunch. There are different flavors of this. It's right at Giant Eagle in the cereal aisle. Now, this is the Maple Pecan Crunch, but they had other different varieties of this. It's called Nature's Path, organic, delicious, excellent source of omega-3. It has 6 grams of protein per serving and 6 grams of fiber per serving, 25 grams of whole grains per serving. So it's a nice cereal. And you don't have to, but find a nice cereal that's high in fiber. Of course, any like your Raisin Brands or anything like that, brand cereals with raisins, that's very high in fiber. We're just going to add a little bit of that. So, I mean, this is like a full, complete breakfast or so. Then we have just some nice granola. This granola actually has some almonds in it. So we have really great nutritional value there. And then we just add that in there. And this is a nice looking parfait. I wish you guys could see it. I can't tilt it over because then it wouldn't be as nice looking anymore. But you guys can only see the top of it in that way. But
no, we can see the side of it from that picture in a picture. It looks the yogurt shows very whitely against your red jacket.
So, and then that's what I say, it's really cool. And they do have those small mason jars. So you pick up a couple of those, and maybe you have a bunch of different fruit, and maybe you just do a couple of them. Some of them, don't put the granola or the cereal in till maybe the night before. You're going to use it, maybe some, you know, if you're going to eat those further in the week, but you could go ahead and make those up. And maybe a couple of them you have just all berries, and a couple of them maybe you do the tropical with the pineapple and papaya and mango. And you could do it like that, kind of create your own variety. And it'd be like a little grab and go if you use some of the smaller mason jars that they have out there. And it'd be a nice grab and go kind of breakfast, filling and flavorful, and definitely good for you. Any questions? No.
So I always heard that granola got a pretty bad rap because of they say that it's not as healthy as it's purported to be, probably because of the extra sugar or something. Have you heard anything about them saying granola is not all that healthy?
So there is going to be a lot of added sugar in there. So paying attention to those nutrition labels, but that is because they do add a lot of extras into granola. They add chocolate, they add brown sugar. So if you can get down to the basics of granola and just focus on buying a granola that has those grains and seeds, and then reading that nutrition label and seeing that there's not, 50-gram sugar in there. Just being mindful of the one that you're purchasing. Granola itself is supposed to be healthy. It can be made unhealthy by different brands trying to pretty it up. So I would say the root of granola, yes, very healthy. I don't want it to get a bad rep, but there are unhealthier granola. So just being mindful of that.
Or the easiest thing is you can make your own, and then you wouldn't have to worry about it. You can make up a nice big batch with oats, and add honey, oats, and some different seeds and dried fruit and things of that nature, and make it yourself right in your oven at a very low heat. And you can kind of have your own blend, and so then you're able to also control the sugars in there. Because then you know what you're putting in there.
Excellent idea. So what you doing now, Chef?
So now we're going to move on to the hummus. So we're just going to cut up some, what I call crudité, or some veggies. And of course, just like the parfait, use whatever vegetables or leftover vegetables. If you have some snap peas or anything like that, you could use those. Different peppers, definitely use all kinds of things that you want to eat hummus with. And we're saying crudité, most people want to eat hummus with pita bread, but if you want to keep this nice and light, then just try to find some different, maybe some green beans, some like fresh green beans or something of that sort. Could be a really nice choice that you can dip your hummus in. And I know it's easy to buy hummus, and you can most certainly do that, but people don't realize how easy it is to actually make hummus, starting with your chickpeas. So we've drained off our chickpeas, and a secret tip is, to be honest, if you roast these slightly to dry them, that's a good way actually to get a nice smooth hummus. If you slightly roast them to dry them out, and then cook them, that also helps you to get a nice smooth hummus. Of course, let it cool down. So we'll put our chickpeas in. Now the liquid that comes off of this, and we may have said this before, the liquid that comes off of that is what we call aquafaba. And so it's a great substitute for if you're going plant-based or so, or dairy-free. It's a alternative to egg, as an egg binder in any baking recipes. So don't throw that away. If you can definitely use that if you like, for other applications. And then we have tahini, and tahini is basically just pureed soybeans. So like a paste or so. Now, if you don't have tahini, because it can be kind of expensive, because I remember at the restaurant we didn't buy tahini, and we would add a little bit of sesame oil. That kind of added, it kind of gives it that nice flavor. And then we're going to add some cumin. All those great flavors, bright flavors in there. Of course, my favorite, well, you put paprika, but who just puts regular paprika in anything? A little smoked paprika, a little bit of onion, garlic, and then we're going to put some flax. Or you would put some hemp seed, so flaxseed or hemp seed or chia or anything like that. That's just adding some more protein to it. Then we're going to put some water in there, and that's also has some lemon juice in there. That lemon juice helps to brighten it up. And then olive oil. Now, I know these people is, well, do you have to use olive oil? Well, no, you can use avocado oil or grapeseed oil. We like to use olive oil when it comes to making hummus because olive oil does have a great flavor that helps to really kind of give a nice richness to your hummus. You just puree it up till it becomes a nice, smooth. Need to add some more water. So a nice smooth texture, and voila, you have your own, and you can do all kinds of hummus. That's the good thing about hummus. You can definitely make it into something as I've seen spinach, or I've seen and made spinach artichoke hummus, roasted red pepper hummus. I've seen black eyed pea hummus. And so instead of using chickpeas, you use black eyed peas. Same process. Same ingredients, but instead of garbanzo or chickpeas, use black eyed peas. So you can make all types of hummuses, all types of add-ins, roasted garlic hummus, or whatever.
Have you guys ever used or tried chocolate hummus before or heard of it?
Yes, in fact, the drumming circle last week had a taste tester and brought in 2 different brands of chocolate hummus, and she had pretzel sticks to dip in there. So I have to say, yes, I can, at the kindness of the drumming circle.
It was interesting to sample the 2 different brands because I thought they tasted very differently, and even the textures were a little different.
So we have, Irene said that black hummus is my to go to.
Black hummus or black eyed pea hummus?
And then Amy asked for chocolate hummus, do you just add cocoa? I don't know if there's other ingredients other than just adding cocoa, but I know that that was one of the ingredients in the ones that Anna shared last week.
Tell you what, you can't hear a thing though when this thing is running. It's nice. Oh yeah, I like that. Nice and smooth.
That's okay, Chef. You can't hear a thing and we can't see you because when I set the camera up, I didn't expand it all the way over to show the blender. So you're doing something magical over there to the side.
It's magical. So I'm just going to smooth it out just a little bit more. And
so in regards to the chocolate hummus, a website that I'm looking at says it's, chickpeas, the tahini, if I'm pronouncing that right, maple syrup or agave syrup to taste, and then the cocoa powder, and they recommend Dutch process or dark chocolate, vanilla extract, and then kosher salt. So, Yeah, the cocoa powder seems to be a main ingredient.
Love it. It sounds delicious.
Cocoa powder in what?
In the chocolate hummus.
Oh,
You couldn't hear us because of the blender was running.
so we got our hummus. What we'll do is we'll just take some hummus and put it kind of at the bottom of the jar. Maybe not as easy as I thought. And that's the good thing about, if you add, once again, you can make up a couple of these, try some different flavors out. Like I said, a go-to I've seen with a lot of people is like a roasted red pepper hummus. Definitely like a spinach artichoke one is a really good one. Use some spinach. Of course, you would take that spinach and blanch it off in that artichoke or saute it off, let it cool down. And then when you add your chickpeas and stuff to the blender, then you would add that in there and it gets blended all up with the chickpeas into the hummus. It's really great and garlicky and all that good stuff. So have our hummus in there. And then in your Bob Ross world, you take some nice celery. And of course, you want to cut them so that they can stick out, because otherwise, trying to stick your hand down in there and get that out would kind of probably be.
Well, one of the things on the recipe, Chef, it's recommended, or it says you can also consider saving a applesauce or fruit container and use it to hold your hummus at the top of the mason jar. So you can put your fresh veggies in the jar, seal them, and then have your hummus in another container at the very top. So there's another suggestion there.
Definitely. So you definitely want to fit, or you could definitely fit a, whatever size, like you said, the applesauce or one of those condiment containers or something like that, that will fit in your jar, kind of enough to suspend at the top, and then put your hummus in there. Got some veggies in there. We got our hummus in there, and then you got hummus to go.
Perfect. Great for a morning or afternoon snack, or even part of lunch.
I mean, so you got breakfast, lunch, and all in a jar. I mean, you shouldn't have to worry much about that at this point. Easy to pack in your lunch bag. All right.
And since it's just the hummus and the fresh veggies, even if you make those up a day or two in advance, the veggies will stay still nice and firm. And then
Yes.
Amy said I could go for it now. So yes, absolutely.
Yes, that's definitely an easy thing to be able to do, because like I said, you can easily make it, jar it up, and then pop that lid off and go for it. All right. So this last one here, really, really great and easy way to make a non-conventional salad. I've seen the salads in a jar. You have your leaf lettuce and maybe some shredded cheese and egg and all that kind of stuff. But to make it a little bit healthier and a little bit, different, we're going to make a Caprese salad jar that's going to have all these wonderful, great components and be nice and flavorful. And it looks pretty, because anything with red and green in it is definitely going to be worthwhile. So we got some cherry tomatoes here. I'm just going to slice those in half because I wouldn't want to put those in this whole. You just slice them in half. There is a trick that if you have a bunch of cherry tomatoes that you want to slice up, instead of cutting them individually, you find you 2 lids that you may have that are pretty proportionate in size, and put all your cherry tomatoes or so in the lid. Now the key is you got to have a sharp lid. A sharp knife. Then I have my other lid. It doesn't have to be a plastic clear lid like this, but if you just have 2 lids at home that are pretty much the same size, put one down, put your cherry tomatoes on top of it, put your other lid on top. I'm firmly pressing down on it. I'm not firmly, but lightly pressing down on it. Make sure your knife is pretty sharp. And I'm literally taking my knife, making it parallel, and you just cut through all of them at the same time. My hand is right on top, and I get to cut through. This knife is not the sharpest, so normally if it was a sharper knife, then it really would take nothing to slice all the way through to the other end.
And
And then
Irene
you
says
have-
that that's Rachel Ray's trick, definitely.
Oh, Rachel Ray.
And Chef, I know that one time you'd also shared this trick using the bottom of 2 plates. So if people don't have lids like that, you can just take a small plate,
Small
put
plates
your.
would-
Mhm.
Same thing, small plates or so, but that just, we learn those tricks in the culinary world, especially in catering, or if you're working in a large commercial kitchen and you gotta cut up a lot of cherry tomatoes. Nobody's gonna sit there and do those one by one. So you find ways to be able to do and get more done at a time. All right, so first things first, you want to make your dressing, and we're just doing a simple vinaigrette. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the vinaigrette actually in the jar, because I don't know if many of you, we've done mason jar vinaigrettes. I actually, when I teach children cooking classes, I also teach them how to make vinaigrettes in a mason jar, because unlike when I came through culinary school and we had to do it in the bowl, you had to whisk until it emulsified and all that kind of stuff, a lot of workout, things have become a lot easier. You can do it in a mason jar, or if you have like an immersion blender, you could do it in a bowl that way, and it'll come together. But this has become probably one of the easiest ways to do so. So we have our balsamic vinegar. And got a little bit of garlic here. Nothing like a little minced garlic. And it helps give some really great flavor. Mince up some garlic. Or if you don't like mincing garlic, they have garlic mincers for those who don't like. That's the thing, you don't like minced garlic, or you can, or you don't want to. They have those little gadgets out there that are garlic presses. So you can go for that. But, the stuff in the jar, I understand if that's the way to go. It's just not the same as fresh garlic. All right, we've got a little minced garlic there. And then some Dijon. And the Dijon actually helps, it gives it a balance of flavor, but it also helps to stabilize the vinaigrette, kind of helps the emulsification step or process. And then I normally would add honey, but I forgot to bring some. So I'm just going to add a little bit of maple as a natural sweetener. The maple or honey, I would normally use honey. It helps to balance, because you have that vinegar, and that vinegar can be kind of strong and pungent. So the honey normally would balance out that strong pungentness, and that also helps in the emulsification. When we talk about emulsification, it's the vinegar and the oil basically marrying together so it doesn't separate. So honey helps to do that also. Like I said, since we didn't have any, we use a little maple syrup that'll help balance it all out. Then we'll add our oil. Anybody doesn't know by now, a simple vinaigrette is a 2-to-1 ratio. So 2 parts oil to 1 part. So if you're using a cup of oil, not for this, but cup of vinegar, you're going to use 2 cups of oil in order to make your vinaigrette. So got it all in there, and shake, 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 Sonora, shake your body right. Work, 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 work. Daylight come and you want to go home.
Dinner and a show.
Yes. All right. So you just shake that until what we call the emulsification, or that once it settles, it doesn't separate the oil and the vinegar. Like it all has come together, it has a nice viscosity and all of that. And actually, I could probably add a little bit more oil because I can tell that it is separating. And then I always add just a pinch of salt, because salt is meant to not give flavor, but to enhance flavor. So it helps to bring out that flavor a little bit more. I got a little leakage here. All right, now once you have your vinaigrette made, then you can start building your salad. We made our vinaigrette in the jar, so you don't have a lot of dishes to worry about. Then we'll add our tomatoes. Now you realize you add your tomatoes and your onions and stuff in there. All of that now is getting all that rich, great flavor in the bottom with that vinaigrette. Boom. Everybody in the pool, we have some nice diced red onions. You can use white onions, but red onions are not as strong. And so they have a little bit milder flavor to them. Some red onions. And then we have some nice mozzarella balls. We'll just kind of pluck those in there. You've built really nice Caprese. And then you finish it off with whatever mixed greens that you're using. I thought it'd be great. We have arugula and spinach. So instead of just some regular mixed greens or a lettuce or so, use some, definitely step out and try to get some better greens that will complement the rest of the salad. So we have some arugula, baby spinach, and we're just going to put that right on top to finish filling your jar. Of course, it'll look great from the outside, and you'll be the envy of everybody that sees you get ready to eat this unpack this for your lunch. But also, they don't realize that it really made life a lot convenient. So we have our nice Caprese. You guys can see.
You can see the layers.
Tomatoes in the bottom with the dressing, the mozzarella, and then the arugula. And then guess what? When you get ready to eat it, and you just shake, 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 Sonora, shake, work, 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 and you have a fully dressed salad. Just like that. And then voila, you pop it open, get you one of those handy forks. I've seen actually they have forks, I think you can get them on Amazon or something, that are kind of like your portable go, with you kind of forks that you can fold up and put in its own little pouch or whatever, and it can kind of be a portable on-the-go fork or knife set. So it's definitely would go great with your mason jar salads or mason jar creations. Have one of those little portable spoons and forks that you keep in your own little pouch, and you're ready at any given moment to enjoy.
Well, I have to admit, when I was reading through the recipe, it said 3 to 4 cups mixed greens. And I'm like, that's a lot of greens for a salad. And then I read down to the very bottom under instructions, and it's like, yeah, this is for 2 salads. I'm like, whoa, good. You're not making me eat
It's
4
still
cups of
3
greens in one setting.
Stuff 3 to 4 cups of greens in a mason jar. Then power
Yeah,
to.
I was a tad bit confused, but just keep reading the recipe and you'll get to the information you need.
That's what, well, you just help to confirm. That's why I always say, whenever you're doing a recipe, always, because most people will read the ingredients and then just start. They got the ingredients together and then they just start. Well, the best thing is to read through it first so that you can kind of know what to anticipate, make sure that you have all the equipment you need all in place. That's all part of the mise en place. Mise en place is not just making sure you have all your ingredients together, but it's also, well, let me read through this and make sure, do I need to preheat my oven or so? What temperature I need to have it preheated before I even start cooking? Do I need a pan? Do I need a skillet? Do I need a spatula? Do I need a spoon to stir or whisk? So that all of those things can be already in place and you kind of already know what to expect while you're doing it. So there's no surprise. You don't want to get to step 3 and you're like, oh, surprise. So you want to read through the whole recipe, get acclimated, and then begin and go back to the beginning.
But does anybody have any questions for Chef Jason or our dietitian, Emily?
No questions.
Well,
And you guys might have talked about this. Are there any other mason jar hacks that anybody else has already done, or things that they like to put in the mason jar?
I have to say, I use my mason jars more for my overnight oats.
Yes.
Anybody else have any tricks out there?
No.
Anybody have any questions for Chef Jason or Emily? Well, if you do decide to try any of these mason jar recipes, please let us know how they turned out for you. You get if you do the salad, you get your exercise in as you're eating a healthy meal. So you can get your work those arm muscles out as you're shaking everything together. But we do appreciate you, Emily and Chef Jason, for providing our Cooking for Wellness with Central Ohio Urology Group tonight. We're very excited to try these out, and just a reminder that all of our recipes are on the website for everybody to have access to. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us tonight, and thanks again to Emily and to Chef Jason. We greatly appreciate you guys.
Thank you guys. Thank you everyone for being on, and have a great weekend.
Thank you.